What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Real Junkies. I'm your host, Farhan, here again with my man Vito, coming to you with a movie that you all really, really, really need to go see. But I'm willing to bet because the marketing campaign failed it, y'all probably haven't garnered as much interest in it as you probably should have. And it's a movie that, if you had told me beforehand these two actors would be starring in a movie together, and that I'll walk out of the theater going, that was one of the best movies of the year, I would have said, you nuts. And that's Tiana Taylor and Leonardo DiCaprio. That's not a combination I would have expected, and it's not a combination I would have expected to work this well, but it did. And this is One Battle After Another. Just recently came out this weekend, directed by the great Paul Thomas Anderson. If you're any type of movie junkie or cinephile, you're familiar with Paul Thomas Anderson and his work to some degree. You can go back to things like There Will Be Blood. I know Boogie Nights and Magnolia are some of his more popular films as well. Punch Drunk Love as well. Phantom Thread, which I'll mention because it was nominated for Best Picture, but candidly, that movie's boring as hell. But it was nominated for Best Picture, so I'm gonna let him have it. You know what I'm saying? That's still an accomplishment. And I gotta say, he knocks it out the park again with this one. First of all, the cast of this film is stacked.
This cast is it's stacked, but it's so fucking random.
It's randomly stacked. It's so stacked that Avon Barksdale is a side character in the first act. Wood Harris is a side character in the first act.
I don't even want to say he's that nigga's a background character. At this point,
that's how stacked this cast is. I really was very surprised with how stacked this cast was. Just as the movie goes on, people keep coming up like, oh, dang, there goes another one. Dang, another one.
Yeah.
Benicio del Toro comes on screen and I'm like, I forgot he was in this movie. Like it was very impressive, the cast they put together, and how all of them, even the ones who you would consider side characters, all had something to contribute. Like even though their roles may have been background or supporting, they didn't feel meaningless or like they were just there. Like everyone felt like they had a purpose, which I really, really, commend this film for being able to manage a cast like that and be able to give everyone, some form of shine and give everyone their own due. I have a lot of positive things to say about this movie, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and get your shit off a little bit because I could keep going.
Which is crazy because I don't think I'll say this. Last movie we watched was what we did him last, right?
Unfortunately.
All right, and I came out of the theater like, what the fuck did I just watch? I came out of the theater with this one. I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? But not in a bad way.
Not in a bad
way. They touch on a lot of things that's, currently going on, things that people are kind of weary about.
This movie's gonna piss some people off.
Oh my God, that's all I was thinking when I said
gonna piss some people off.
I'm looking, I'm like, matter of fact, that's the thing that I meant to look up. What I'll look up while once you start speaking, I want to see when the script was wrote and when they started filming, because it's going to piss some people off. And
very timely.
This came out at just the right time.
Yeah.
And I feel like, this was supposed to, because when you watch the trailer, you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, this is a comedy. And it's really not a comedy. It has some comedic moments in here, and you may chuckle in a few. You're gonna chuckle a lot. It's a few little ha-has, but it's not a comedy at all. It's really serious. It's a really serious fucking movie. Like if you would have put this movie out 3-4 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, this is movie. But now I'm like, some of this shit might be happening right now.
Yeah.
Like you said, and you already know, I got to give a shout out to, the Black Queens in the movie. Regina Hall, first of all.
We love Regina Hall on this channel.
Regina Hall. Tiana Taylor. Jesus, dude.
She was
banging always.
She was very impressive in this. I got to give it to her. I can't think of a lot of roles I've seen Tiana Taylor in, but I ain't gonna lie, she killed this. I ain't gonna lie. Not to say I expect her performance to be bad per se. I feel like when you put an actor across someone who's a GOAT, especially a musician across someone who's a GOAT, sometimes it doesn't go too well, highest to lowest. You know what I'm saying? So
Let,
I'm glad to
us just
know.
stop right there. Let's stop before you go any further, because let's just not make it seem like it was just ASAP. All right, because that entire cast was just did
Yeah,
terrible.
it wasn't just ASAP. That's just the most recent example we have of like you putting a musician in, face to face in scenes with an actor who we would consider to be one of the greatest. And Tiana Taylor held her own in every single scene she had with Leo. Like you didn't notice that like one person's the greatest actor of our generation, and that the other one is a musician that's transitioned into acting. Like you couldn't tell that through the performance. Like it was very impressive. I was very impressed with Tiana
And
Taylor in this one.
to your point, to that, to just two people going up against each other, or working together. You got Leo, Tiana, great. Benicio del Toro and Leo did great. And somebody said this. I just seen somebody say this on Twitter last week, or something, maybe Facebook. I don't know. They don't give Regina Hall her credit in almost anything, as far as being a great actress, as far as being a great comedian. And Regina Hall has some very like serious scenes in here, and she kind of plays up against I didn't write her name down, who plays the daughter.
Chase Infinity.
She has a lot of scenes with Chase Infinity, and but there is one side character, and I'm not gonna give anything away, but he's a military interrogator, and
Mm.
I think he had some of the, like, to have such a small, like maybe 3 scenes, and each one like fucking masterclass in it, dude. Like, he was legitimately a terrifying character.
Yeah.
But it's just so many great actors in here, and you really it just didn't get no fucking play, man. Like, forgot the movie was coming out this week.
Yeah, and honestly, the box office numbers kind of reflect that because it only made like it was number one at the box office, but I believe it made like a little over 20 million. Like I hate to say it kind of bombed. I think it's going to probably recoup a little bit more just because the word of mouth on this has been so good and people have been raving about it so much. But this is likely going to end up being a loss box office wise, like in the theaters. I feel like this is one of those movies that's going to make its life on streaming. And probably I'd be shocked if this doesn't get a Best Picture nomination. So there's still hope for this movie to be successful, but early out the gates, at least financially, it's not doing the best. But that does not take away from what Paul Thomas Anderson and this cast accomplished in creating this, because I feel like I've been saying this too much this year, where I say something's my favorite movie of the year, and then a couple months go by and then something else comes along that takes the crown. This right here is in strong contention right now. It's between this, F1, and Sinners, and this is making a very strong case for number one for me at the moment. Getting back to the performances though, to your point, Benicio del Toro might have been my favorite like side character in the whole movie. I'm not gonna lie. He stole every scene he was in. Like every single scene he was in, I thought he was like the star of every scene that he had. And just the like just dry humor that he had, the way he just was just very calm and kind of almost like nonchalant in some of the most high stress situations you could possibly be
which
in.
Should have been like I said, everything that he was dealing with should have been like panicking.
Yes.
Which you kind of see this in the trailers, but they show Leo's character panicking like through the whole thing, which it kind of pissed me off, not gonna lie. That might have been my biggest gripe. I think they could have did this movie without him being kind of a fuck up. But Benicio del Toro, like you said, he starts off on the phone in a phone conversation with somebody with some shit going down, and it transitioned through this guy just fucking. We're trying our best not to give spoilers, so he does some things like where you should probably be focused on when you're talking to people. And like you said, he's very nonchalant and kind of just cool, but it probably shows that you can kind of tell that this system that he has in place has been in place for a while, and he's practiced this.
Yeah. Like it was very clear this was not his first rodeo. When shit started hitting the fan, it was like very clear, like, oh, okay, he's done this before. He's very comfortable in these type of situations. I want to really get into the plot of this, but to your point, this is because I want people to go see this movie. People need to go see this movie because we have been, as an audience, we keep begging Hollywood to give us really high quality original films.
And don't tell us the movie in the fucking trailer.
And don't tell us a movie in the trailer. And this thing does both of those. It gives us a great original film and it doesn't reveal everything in the trailer. And if this makes $22 million, you know what Hollywood's going to do? They're going to say, see, y'all don't really want this. So now here goes Saw 17. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what's going to happen if people don't start supporting films like this. But to the best of what we can describe of this film, it is essentially a story about a group of freedom fighters called, were they the French 75?
French 75, which I'm pretty sure is a drink.
Yeah, they were. I think this was based on a book. I'm forgetting the name of the book. It's like loosely based on a book. But other than that, it's a pretty much original story because it's not directly pulling the events from the book. It's like loosely based. So it's about a group of freedom fighters called the French 75, who Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Bob, and Tiana Taylor's character, I'm trying to remember her full name.
Even reading that shit, I'm like,
it was Perfidia, and I can't remember the character's last name. But
Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills. Okay, there we go. I was like, it was something Hills.
That's the only part that I caught in the movie. She said her name a couple times, and every time she said, I'm like, what the fuck is she saying?
Yeah, so Perfidia and Bob, Tiana Taylor and Leo, they're like, I don't want to call them the leaders, but they're kind of like the people with a lot of status and people who are very highly regarded.
They probably have I would put her as one of the leaders, or I would say she's more so of the spokesperson. She does a lot of speaking. And then you have Leo, he specializes in, I don't think that's giving away too much, is saying what he does, right?
No. I mean, it doesn't really find out in the first scene.
And it doesn't really play a big role in the movie. He's big on like explosives. So he's
kind of his bag. Guy. Pretty much, yeah. That's his bag. So these group of freedom fighters, they believe in no borders. The film opens with them, going basically, into basically some form of an ICE facility and kind of releasing everybody in there. They pack as many people onto this U-Haul truck as they can, and they get to pushing. And a lot of this film is, based around freedom fighters and resistance, and a lot of heavy commentary on immigration and immigration policy and what that looks like.
Second act, dude.
Yes.
The second act heavy on immigration and kind of actually I don't even want to say what happened because it gives it away some more. But it's a lot about immigration. There's some protest in here. And if you're paying attention to this movie while you're watching it, you're gonna be like, didn't they say this happened?
Yeah,
this happened,
like,
right?
It's a lot of things that you're gonna look at in this movie and be like, did they film this yesterday? Like it's very timely and very, very relevant to what's happening right now. A little too much.
It's crazy.
A little too much.
I'm gonna take a step back 1 second because I do want to talk about we talk about pacing a lot.
Pacing in this was amazing.
See, and that's what I was about to say. So I felt like the pacing was slow in this. It's slow and steady. And something's always happening in this movie. Like literally, right after the first scene or the opening scene, they go into a fucking montage. Like they go into a montage quickly, and they open up to present day or where the movie takes place. Each scene, it was 230, 235, 240 minutes. The movie?
I believe it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah, give or take. Yeah, 240.
So it was very slow paced, but it was very. I think it was slow, but it was smooth. So like nothing. I didn't feel like anything was rushed.
Yeah.
I still feel like I know they cut some things out of this movie because you don't hire people like Wood Harris and Regina Hall to play kind of these smaller roles. The dude from I don't know the nigga's name. The dude from Scandal who plays President Fitz.
He is. I'm forgetting the actor's name as well. But when I saw him, I was like, they got Fitz in here.
And he's now he does mostly, or he's big for his TV roles. I don't know what else he's been in, but
Tony Goldwyn is the actor's name.
But he's also not somebody that you kind of throw into you put into a throwaway role.
Yeah.
You know, something that his character really don't fucking matter.
He
You know,
though that whole we'll get to that with him and his group of
I
characters.
don't
That
know.
was
I don't even know if we can because that entire thing is the reason that the movie like
yeah,
it push
it's so
it's very crucial to the plot.
it is. Here's why I'm gonna talk about it without spoiling. And I'll put it this way: there is a group of people in this movie, and this is why I say this movie is very politically charged. Like this is there's no and every this movie is very politically charged, and there's no neutral parties in this movie. Everybody in this movie is either on the side
On
of the
one side,
resistance
yeah.
or on the side of the villains. There are no neutral characters in this entire film.
And I'll
Everyone is
say
on the side.
there's no good characters.
I would
Like,
also agree.
no one is
There's only one character in here that I would say is actually a good guy, and that's Willa.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everybody
100%.
else,
Or
everybody
even,
else is questionable.
I'll give it to Benicio del Toro too.
Well,
But
you're right. And Benicio, no, I'm gonna give it to Benicio del Toro.
I'm on the fence with him just because
he said it himself. He Hispanic Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, but with that, see, I don't want to give it away. So
Yeah.
that
line was hilarious though when he said that. He was
I
like,
got
"He's a
him
lot of
on the
Hispanic Harriet
fence,
Tubman shit
and
going on."
I got Willow as being, like you said, I have her. You know what? Yeah, I have her being the only good person.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to Tony Goldwyn and his characters, because you're right, they are a very core part of why the events in the story take place the way they do.
I guess you can say their main thing that they want, or what they
Yeah.
are.
I would just say what they are. So like I said, this movie is very politically charged. And while you have the resistance, and then you have Sean Penn in this movie who plays Colonel Lockjaw. No, that is not some satirical play. That is actually this character's name.
And when you finish, I got to talk about him.
He was phenomenal in this.
Yeah.
He is the main villain of the movie who the freedom fighters and this resistance group are at odds with for most of the movie. He gets involved with, we'll just call them a very elitist white nationalist group, and I'll just call them that. For all my people who are in the somewhat conspiracy realm, when you hear people say the world is really just controlled by rich people who are just playing puppet master strings with everybody, think of these group of characters. That's essentially what these group of characters represent.
They have very long reach. They have a very long reach.
Yes,
and they don't hide. They hide it to the world. Immediately, you know, like,
yeah,
okay, these are some white supremacists. And
they let you know that in like the first few lines of dialogue when they start talking. I'm like, oh,
white supremacist,
that's how y'all feel.
Illuminati. Like, soon as they say
yes,
like,
it's the white supremacist Illuminati. That is exactly what they are. They are the white supremacist Illuminati. So they are a core part of why the events in this movie take place the way they do. So it's hard for me to give, because I honestly think while they are a core part of why the events in this movie take place, they also feel like kind of the most out of place.
And that's where it gets comical. Like I said, it's a very serious movie, but there are some,
because they don't feel serious. Like some
comical parts. Like they are serious, but when you're watching them, you're like, this is a joke, right? Like just because
they feel serious in the first scene you see them, when Colonel Lockjaw first meets with them. Yeah, that first scene you see them, I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers look like they about to be a problem.
You know what?
That second scene when it's just them and they're having their little meeting, I'm like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is this?
I feel like
they just felt very goofy.
We might be able to say, I'm gonna say what their name are. They name it. Their name is
the Christmas Adventurers.
They're called the Christmas Adventurers.
If that don't tell you, if that don't prove our point,
they love God and Christmas.
Oh no, and their chant or they're saying to each other is "Hail Saint Nick."
I thought they were going to say "Hail Satan" every time.
That's what it sounded like to me, and I'm like, hold on, are they saying "Hail Saint Nick"? I'm like, bro, this is what are we doing, y'all? What is this?
And it has a lot. There's a lot of things that take place in this movie that they do not elaborate on. They do not explain at all, and that's one of them. Like, this organization just kind of pops up, and they tell you what their goal is, but you like, okay, well, how many members do they got? You know, how do you get in there? They kind of tell you that. Like, it's so many things surrounding them. It's like, how did y'all form? How long did this go back? You know, and they don't really, I'll say they don't really get involved in a lot of small things. And
Yeah.
when things are, because there are things that happen in this movie that you would think that they would be okay with because they are fucking white nationalists. They're the white Illuminati, and they're not. you know.
Yeah.
But to Sean Penn, dude, one, I don't know if it felt like he was like mocking RFK with how he speaks, because every time he started
I caught
talking,
on to that
I'm
too.
like, dude, this nigga got a brainworm.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm glad you said that, because I
I
was thinking that as I was watching this movie too.
but his walk, like he had
It
this
was
little,
like Vince McMahon.
yeah, it was like he had a little
Yeah.
stubble kind of,
Yeah.
like he moved his hands like this there and he's walking. And I have not seen Sean Penn in a lot of things lately. When I remember Sean Penn, it's from things in the fucking late 80s, early 90s, a few movies in the early 2000s. Did a great job. I did feel like there's one crucial part of this movie where I felt like was very obvious, and guessed it almost immediately within the first 10 minutes, as soon as they made it clear that it was gonna happen. Um, and again, he takes part of this. Now, the one thing I am confused on, and my one gripe with this movie that I have right now, is who the fuck did he work for?
Sean Penn?
Because
Yes. Yeah.
they said he works for ICE, but then he gets like a medal from the police department, but then he's supposed to be in the military. And and again, this is where it gets kind of
There were a few
comical,
things. Yeah.
because his military unit is it's not a military, like these when you look at mercenaries in movies, that's what his military unit looks like. But again, they say he's Army, they say he's ICE. They call the guy who I said, I'm gonna have to get his name, the interrogator. They call him Agent. So it's really kind of fucking confusing. And when they say politically charged, like you said, there's a scene in this movie where the majority of the movie takes place. He says something to this guy, and you like, oh, that's some dirty shit that they do. And
Oh yeah, I already know what
eh,
scene you talking about.
I
Yeah.
want to see you're a lot better at spoiler free shit than me. I give away. I'm either not gonna tell you anything, or I'm gonna tell you too much.
Everything.
I'm
No
gonna
in
tell you
between.
way too much. But think about what was that movie with or a TV? It was a TV show with the guy that plays Punisher,
With John Bernthal?
John Bernthal. We Own the City. It was an
Oh,
HBO show.
what took place in Baltimore?
Baltimore Cops. Yep.
I know what show you're
Still
talking
haven't
about.
watched it yet. It's on my list. But there's a scene where I think they shoot a guy, and then they throw a gun in a car.
Oh yeah, I know what scene you're talking about.
And
Yeah.
they like, that's the justification. Somebody
Mhm.
sees like, no, that ain't. And that's kind of what what the Sean Penn and this agent
Yeah.
does, but they do
Yeah.
it on a
Much bigger
larger
level,
scale.
much larger
So
scale.
large.
I'll say it without spoiling. Basically, like, there's Sean Penn's character is hunting for somebody. This isn't really a spoiler because this is in the trailer. In the
Mhm.
trailer, Leonardo DiCaprio is looking for his daughter. That is a key plot point of the entire story. It is after years of fighting in this, freedom fighter resistance. The movie does a time jump. So, because the movie starts off with Leo and Tiana Taylor, and their daughter is like a baby at the beginning of the movie. So it does a time jump later on, and by the time the events of this movie really pick up, Willa, their daughter, is like 16, 17. So the events of the movie, like the core plot, like at its core, is a movie really about a broken family. And Leonardo DiCaprio is looking for his daughter. And Sean Penn, character Lockjaw, is also looking for Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter. I won't go into the reasons why and all of that, but Leo knows that Sean Penn is hunting his daughter down, and Leo isn't with his daughter right now. So he's trying to find his daughter before Lockjaw does. So to go to your point about some of the shady shit they do, once Sean Penn kind of, figures out what's going on, and he needs to go find this particular person, he figures out generally what city they're in. He goes to the agent and says, find me a reason to deploy there. I don't care what it is. Find me a reason to deploy
All
there.
right, so I wasn't gonna get that part away, but since you said that he goes drugs or he goes heroin or
heroin,
I
yep.
was like, yo, what the fuck?
No, yeah. And then the next scene, he's like, so the next scene, you see the briefing. He's like, yes, they're running a huge heroin ring. I'm like, what?
And they mentioned a heroin ring that's taking place in this town, but also they plan on raiding a few taco spots
that don't got nothing to do with who they're looking for, mind you. Like,
so the thing that and I'm gonna try not to give too much away or get too off basis. The thing that happens is, so Sean Penn, his unit, they're embedded into a DEA, ATF, Homeland Security task force at this point to do these raids. And his unit kind of takes off by themselves. Like it's so random and weird because they say, like, I think they mentioned, like, in the briefing, like, yeah, you guys will hold security at this area, this area, this area. And you see him, like I said, he starts looking for Willow and Bob. And it's just so fucking random and weird that, like I said, before I would have been like, no, you can't get away with that. And in this whatever unit he is, police, military, whatever, you can't get away with this, unless you have certain authorizations from people in charge that you're gonna go off and do this. They wouldn't even tell you that you're gonna do these raids. But now, with the shit that's happening with our government and our president, our Secretary of Defense, I'm not calling him the Secretary of War. Shit is stupid. I'm not calling him that. One, we're not at war. We're not trying to be at war. So why would you even?
It don't make sense to me.
I ain't gonna go there. But you see, kind of like, oh shit, this is the type of shit that they're trying to be on. And even with his whole Christmas Adventurers thing, they don't outright tell you how much power they have, but they say they say real small things here and there that'll lead you to believe, like, I don't know if they do this in real life, but they say it in a lot of military books that guys write. They say it in a lot of movies. They refer to the CIA as the agency. And one scene in this movie, he says, "Yeah, we got this from the agency." And you're like, "Wait, who the fuck is this dude? He's wearing like a bowling shirt.
Like he looked like a regular dude.
He looked like somebody that's not supposed to be in this high class, white secret society. I don't fucking know."
Yeah, the Christmas Adventurers were like, they were like a wrench that was not a wrench in like a bad way, like they derailed the movie, but they like kind of came out of nowhere and then just became like a central plot point in what character. They weren't a central 100%. Plot point in the sense that like they were directly involved in everything that was going on, but their presence, like them being involved, changed the character motivation so much that it like created a domino effect of everything that happened in this movie.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a movie where they kind of go try and do something. I guess honestly, Hangover might be the best way to describe it. They go to Vegas for a bachelor party, and one thing goes wrong, and now they're on a whole set of different adventures. The bachelor party was the key part of the of this trip. All this other shit happened because of the bachelor party. The Christmas Adventurers are the bachelor party.
Everything else happened because they stepped in. Pretty much.
They set something in motion that they didn't even realize was going to happen. They asked questions about this before it happened. And so
literally those questions are the reason shit popped off, actually. Yeah, like unbeknownst to them, it ain't like they gave a direct order. They just started asking the questions and then boom, certain character motivations became what they were and the rest of this movie happens. I will say, like, one of the biggest compliments I'll give this film is its ability to blend tones. Kind of like you said. You said it wasn't a comedy, but it has a lot of comedic elements to it.
So many.
Mainly because of Leonardo DiCaprio. His character, like, by the time you see his character later in this movie, when the plot is really kicking off, he's a retired freedom fighter at this point. He's an alcoholic. He's a severe drug abuser, like a severe pothead, like a severe pothead. Like he's always high. And to the point where he like can't really function at a high level. And it shows in his attempts to try to save his daughter throughout this movie that like, oh, this dude really does not have it together at all. and you really see it in like there's a scene, and I think like it was a little bit in the trailer, the scene of him trying to remember the passcodes from when he was a
Yeah,
freedom
it
fighter.
was, it
And he's
was.
like calling the freedom fighters, and they're like,
From the
okay, what's the code
payphone.
to this? And he's like, I don't fucking remember. This shit was 16 years ago. Like he was just very flustered and angry throughout this movie because he just couldn't get right. And I ain't gonna lie, that was one of the best interactions in this movie, I think, was him trying to remember the code. And it was like a repeated joke from like really the whole second act into the third act of this movie. I think this film's ability to blend some very, like when I say heavy concepts, this movie takes some very heavy and timely and very like relevant to right now concepts and blends it in this very like subtly comedic way to where the comedy doesn't overtake how serious what's happening is. And the comedy does not overtake the actual dramatic weight of what's going on, but it's enough to where it provides some comedic relief and doesn't make the film feel too heavy with some of the subjects they're trying to tackle. This movie throws a lot at you, and
And
there's a
I'll
lot
say
of things that if you pay attention to the attention to details and some of this in this movie, there's a lot of things that you can draw on from real life events. Like there's literally a scene, and when I watched this, I think that's when I locked in and understood what this movie was. There's a scene that you mentioned, there's a protest scene. And in the protest scene, you see Lockjaw pull up with his police unit
that's
and
the
they're
part I
trying to
was talking
disperse the
about too.
crowd. And he was like, all right, let's just find a reason to get this over with. You see a car
No, let's say
pull
what
up
he said, man. He said, "Let's fight fire with
with
fire."
fire. You're right. He said, let's fight
Soon as
fire
he
with
said
fire.
that shit, I said, "Oh no, oh
He
no."
said, let's fight fire with fire. And then you see a car with military personnel / police pull up, let some dude out the car who's dressed like a protester. Dude lights a Molotov cocktail and throws it towards the police. Now the police have a reason to go crazy. And I just watched that scene like, oh, I understand what this movie is now.
Which
I
when we were
fully understand what
having,
I'm getting myself into.
was it what year was those protests? Was it
2020?
2020? 2020 protests. You had multiple incidences where they said, "No, this guy just he was not there. He pulled up, and nobody else had a mask on. Only
He
person
had
had
a
a mask
mask
on.
on. Yep.
Pulled up, start smashing the windows. Pulled up, start throwing rocks at the cops. Pulled up, start doing this. Pulled up, start doing that. You know, so they really threw these elements in here. So that's
Yeah.
why I said, like, for me, I didn't feel like it's a comedy, but 100% what you said. They blended so well that, like I said, there's a few like moments in the movie, but
Yeah.
like it's not where you fucking busting the gut throughout the movie, because then as soon as that happens, something heavy happens. And
Yeah.
it's not where
You
you
don't
fucking
hold that
depressed
laugh
watching the
long.
movie, because soon as that heavy shit happens, something funny happens or something that's a little comical that you might chuckle at. But I mean, there are, like I said, it's not, it's a serious movie, but it's not that serious of a movie. We've already talked about the Christmas Adventurers. There's another group that shows up in the third act, which I'm not gonna bring up at all, but they're kind of like they feel like a Quentin Tarantino
Yes.
character.
Yes.
And that's the
Absolutely.
only way to really explain it. I'm like, yo,
If you've seen the
what's
movie, you
happening
know
right now?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's the best way to describe that
But
group for sure.
I think there are a few elements like that, because we also had what was the other, who's the girl that was talking to Tiana Taylor all the time? That was Pussy something.
Jungle Pussy.
Jungle Pussy. Like, so
I don't think I've seen that actor or actress before in anything either that I can think of.
I
think
didn't
this
even
is the
look her up,
first.
but I just wanted to mention her name because of that. Like her name in itself, Jungle Pussy. It's like, okay, is this a 70s black exploitation film?
That is a
And
blaxploitation ass name.
and that's how, like I said, that's how us. So it's I'm gonna say it's not a serious movie, but it has very serious elements in it, and it has some comical elements in it. But I would not say it's a comedy or a drama at all. It, because they just blend it so well to where it doesn't feel like neither, but it feels like both at the same time. And I don't
Yeah.
know if that makes sense, but I said it, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I heard someone make like a comparison with this, and it felt very appropriate. Like someone was like, "This movie felt like Sicario meets like an action comedy," and I was like, that seems about right."
I'm
Like
trying
that.
to
maybe more so the action comedy than Sicario, but that I see it. I see that comparison.
Oh, when we talked about the director, when we talked about Punch Drunk Love, which is an Adam Sandler film, starring Adam Sandler, and Adam Sandler doesn't have a lot of serious roles, but I feel like every time he has a serious role, he kind of blows it out of the fucking park. And he has some movies that are serious, but they are comical as well. The Wedding Singer is the one I was thinking about.
Yeah, no, Paul Thomas Anderson is a very versatile director.
The Wedding Singer is a movie with Adam Sandler, think Drew Barrymore. It's a serious movie, has some comical elements. I guess the tone wise, that's how this movie felt to me.
Yeah.
Because it's not Waterboy, it's not Billy Madison, it's not Happy Gilmore, something you're supposed to laugh all the way through. But it's also not a I can't think of no sad movies right now. Just sad all the way fucking through, or very serious all the way through. Crash. You said what?
Crash.
Radio Dream, Crash. You know,
Crash for sure. That movie, that movie is depressing.
So I'm gonna say, let's say you blend Crash and the comedy. Like I said, the comedy in this movie is not really overt. And to the people in this movie, like, this shit ain't a laughing matter. This shit is very serious. But you know, to us, we like, no, that's kind of fucking funny, because there's a scene where they talk about jungle pussy, and I'm like, yo, for these niggas to be some white supremacists, they kind of, I don't know, are y'all? Because what's happening here?
They was fucking with jungle pussy. I was like, I thought y'all was supposed to hate black people. Y'all talking about jungle pussy like y'all trying to jump on or something. Like, what's going on?
So it's kind of crazy movie. Like I said, without giving spoilers, it's kind of hard to really review it outside of
you can't say what this movie's really about without spoiling it. There, like, the plot points we gave y'all are what this movie's about, but there's like a real plot that's going on, like the real reason why all these characters are doing what they're doing, and you can't say that without spoiling it, honestly. I'm gonna go really high with my rating on this one. I'm gonna go really, really high. I'm going 9 out of 10 on this one. This was one of the best movies I've seen of the year. This is definitely going to get a Best Picture nomination. I'll be shocked if this doesn't get a Best Picture nomination. This is one of the best ensemble movies I've seen all year as far as the entire cast. This is some of Paul Thomas Anderson's best work, in my opinion. And it was really good to see Leonardo DiCaprio take on just a role that we're not used to seeing him in. I feel like we're used to Leonardo DiCaprio characters being very, charismatic, very stylish, very put together leading man type of roles. The only other role I can think of Leo being in that wasn't that was Revenant. And even then, it was a leading man type of role. You know what I'm saying? It was just a role of this, dude who's trying to get vengeance, honestly. But, he was in bad shape for a lot of that movie. This is really the first, but in that movie, he was still very serious. He wasn't like aloof or just a goofball. He was just down on his luck. This movie was like a dude down on his luck because of his own doing. Because he's just a goofball who just can't get right and just can't function well, even in high stress or high pressure situations. Like in any, like, just at all. Like, this is the first time we've seen Leo in a role like that, to me, that I can remember. And it's good to see him kind of show that level of versatility and being able to do that. Obviously, as Leo, he can really do anything at this point. But I feel like after a certain point, when you've seen a certain actor so many times, their work can kind of get repetitive because you've seen them act for so long and you've just seen their mannerisms and all of that. And it's good to see him be able to take on a role where it's like, okay, this is something different that I just haven't seen from him, or that I can't recall really seeing from him in any of his other roles. Sean Penn as Lockjaw is one of the best villains of the year, I think. That's another thing about this movie. The character development is across the board, even with a character like Lockjaw. Like, he's a very deep character. Like, he's,
like I said, we
insanely insecure.
We didn't give much away about him and his goals outside of him hunting for Willow and Bob. But he's we already said there's no good person in this film outside of Willow. But everybody's flawed, and he's one, and
he's probably the most flawed. But he's 100%. He's a more complex character than I was expecting him to be. When he first came on screen, I'm like, okay, you got your generic general dude who's going to be hunting the freedom fighters, and he actually ended up being a much more complex character than that. Regina Hall and her limited screen time was really good. Like I already said, Benicio del Toro stole the show for me. Tiana Taylor did a phenomenal job. Like this cast across the board, I think did phenomenal. The pacing was really good. This movie was 3 hours and it flew by for me.
Yeah, it
Like I
didn't feel
looked up
long
at
at
the end and I
all.
was like, that movie was 2 hours and 40 minutes. Like I didn't notice the time at all. And the blending of the tone, just a very heavy subject matter, but then also being able to blend it well with comedy. This movie knocked it out the park for me. I'm giving One Battle After Another 9 out of 10.
I hate that you had to do that because I give it a 9 as well.
Hey,
And I feel like that may change once we discuss kind of a little bit afterwards because my ratings always change when we're discussing it because I think about something. I'm like, no, that kind of pissed me off. I ain't like that. I ain't like that. It wasn't a lot that I didn't like. Talked about Regina Hall. Love Regina Hall. I can see her, watch her in anything. I'm trying to hit on some points that you didn't hit on, but I really can't. Outside of I will say I looked at my phone one time to see what time it was, and that was when they did the montage at the beginning of the movie.
After that, you were locked. Yeah.
I felt like that montage went on a little too long. And again, I said this before. I would love to see the deleted scenes for this movie. Like, I need to see them now because you can tell, like I said, you don't hire Wood Harris to play a character that's in 2 scenes. And when I say 2 scenes, this is like 2 small ass scenes. You don't hire Regina Hall to play in. She had a little more screen time, but not really. We didn't see her do much. You don't hire these actors and put them in these small roles. Like these are parts or scenes that got cut, and they wanted to save time for the rest of the movie. Honestly, like I said, it's probably win picture of the year. When it comes to best supporting actor, actress, I don't know what they're gonna do because I feel like everybody in this movie can go up for those awards.
I think Sean Penn's gonna get a Best Supporting Actor nomination from this. Yeah.
Like I said, I think he may have been my favorite character just because how he played that role. Like I said, even when he's walking, Sean Penn's, I think when I looked it up, he was 5'8". And he's much smaller than all of his guys, like all of his other subordinates.
Yeah.
But as I'm watching this movie, I said, this would have been great. Like, it was a good movie, but if this was a limited series show on
this would have been fun.
HBO or FX, oh my fucking God. This would have been crazy. I would love to sit down and watch 8 or 9 episodes of all of this that's happening with some backstory about the French 75, mainly Bob, Regina Hall, Avon Barksdale. I know his real name. I'm calling him Avon.
That's Avon. That's Avon.
And even some backstory on Colonel Lawjaw. I think when we meet him, he's a captain. So the backstory on him, again, is he military? Is he police? Is he ICE? Is he HSA? You know, what the fuck is he doing? What is his role? What is his position? Story on this little Christmas adventure club or whatever the fuck they call themselves. I felt like I said, it was a good movie, great movie. It would have been so much better as a limited series. Kind of how they did Watchmen. Watchmen was great. We don't need 3-4 seasons of Watchmen because Watchmen that's not what they do. This would have been perfect. I just feel like they could have touched on so many more things, could have expanded. I think even the end of this movie, things happen and you're like, okay, well, what now? You know? It'd be terrible if they made another movie though. I will say that. I don't think, this I think this was a one-off thing. Leave it at one battle after another. Do not do another battle after the last one or how the fuck they name movies.
I don't think we're getting that. I think this is that. I don't think Paul Thomas Anderson movies usually get sequels. This is definitely going to be a one of one.
I think they could still do a TV show, but it would have to. It would not be a sequel. It would have to be like flashbacks, maybe an anthology series of the past of all these characters and how they fit together, how they mesh together, how they come together, all that good stuff. I'm gonna keep it at my 9 for right now. Like I said, I really enjoyed the movie. Only thing I was mad about is I watch my movies on Tuesdays at 9:30. I did not look and see what time this fucking how long this movie was.
So you got out
So
the theater at like midnight, one
I
a.m.
got yeah, it was like 12:45 when I got to the crib. I was supposed to go
Yep.
do something else and just wrecked myself with it. So look at the movie times, boys and girls, because you might have to see the movie at 7. And
Hey,
on top of that, my regular theater was not showing this fucking movie.
really? That's surprising. I didn't think this would
Yeah.
have got a limited release. I honest, that's probably why it only made $22 million. Honestly,
It was at
um,
it was a smaller theater in one of the smaller rooms.
that okay, that makes sense. I'll say that if you have not seen One Battle After Another yet, which I know most of you haven't because of the box office numbers on this, definitely go check this out. This is worth seeing. This is worth supporting. These are the type of movies where if you're someone like me or someone like I'm sure Vito as well, who wants Hollywood to produce more really good original films, this is one you need to go support because this is an opportunity right now to let Hollywood know that's what you want. Because if we can justify to Hollywood giving directors like Paul Thomas Anderson 130, $140 million budget, we're gonna get more movies like this more than likely, which I think is just good for the film industry as a whole and just anyone who's a fan of films. So yeah, that's our review of
Hold
One
on, hold
Battle
on, hold
After
on, hold on,
Another.
hold on, hold on.
What?
One thing I gotta say. I got it.
What up?
I ain't do a
You gotta
rant.
get this off your
I
chest?
gotta get off my chest. I did not do a rant. And when I seen that shit go across the screen, I immediately knew why the advertisement was poor for this or the marketing was poor for this. I don't remember seeing any press runs for this movie. I think a few months ago, I seen like a trailer on TikTok, and I was like, hey, we got to watch this movie. Got Tiana Taylor and Leonardo DiCaprio in it. And that was literally all I seen. And you're like, yeah, cool. Another month or two went by. I seen the trailer. I'm like, hey, we gotta watch this movie. You're like, what is it? I'm like, we talked about this.
No, yeah,
but,
we did. That's when
but
I knew the market. That's when I knew this movie might be in trouble. When you brought it to my attention, I was like, "Damn, I like forgot about this." And it's a Leonardo DiCaprio movie, directed by
so
Paul Thomas Anderson.
so marketing was so poor. I didn't see a media run for this media tour. I seen Regina Hall was in something else recently, like doing an interview. Didn't bring this shit
Mm,
up at all. I don't usually see Leo in interviews and whatnot.
yeah.
Tiana Taylor's been out and about. Heard nothing from her. I think I did see one thing. I think this was the premiere. Like they did a showing of it, and what's the light skinned British nigga with pretty eyes?
Uh.
Aaron Pierre, Mufasa nigga.
Oh, yeah.
And they said I think that I want to say that was him. It could have been somebody else, and I'm just making shit up. But they're dating, and they were at the premiere together, and they said, "What you here for? I'm here to support her." Again, I might be making this up and putting this on him, and it was somebody else. But we did not see a lot about this movie, and it's fucking Warner Brothers. Warner, I don't know what the fuck their issue is with putting out quality films and promoting them. We've seen what they did with the DC universe. They fucking again, I don't care how you feel about, the Snyderverse and all that good shit. They fucked them over. Ruined that whole universe. Fucked over Henry Cavill. Fucked over Ben Affleck as Batman. Um, they killed 2 or 3 movies in the last 10 years. One of them is finally coming out, I think next year. Is Acme versus not the Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote,
Hmm.
which if it was one movie you should probably just kill, it's probably that. What the fuck are we gonna watch here? It's gonna be another Who Framed Roger Rabbit type deal. But the end of this rant, wrapping it up, I already really said is I don't know what the fuck WB is on. I don't know if they like wasting money because if you spent 120 million, $130 million to make this fucking movie,
Marketing
you could have
campaign should have been much better than what it was.
again.
Absolutely.
I didn't know Wood Harris was in there. Hey, yo, not even knowing how long he was gonna be in the movie, I would have wanted to see it simply off the strength that he's in it.
Or not even that, just the way this movie was marketed did not really give you a hook or give you an idea of the best parts of this movie in the marketing. So, like, I found out how good this movie was and the key plot points that would hook an audience while watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that coming in. And that's, I think, one of the biggest problems with when you're producing and creating something that's an original concept you need something to hook the audience because they're not familiar with this property or who these characters are or this story. That's why Weapons was so successful. All these kids at 2 o'clock in the morning got up out their beds and
They
ran off in
told
the
you the
middle of the
story of what's
night.
happening.
And it's like, what happened to him? Shit, you got to go watch the movie to see. That's a hook. That is how you hook an audience with an original concept that they're not familiar with. This movie didn't really do that in the marketing, and it definitely showed at the box office.
And so I think the trailer said, because I think the trailer said that he had her. Lockjaw had his daughter,
Like, had
had
his
Willow
daughter,
already.
yeah, and
So
he
we're
had to go
thinking that
look
he
for it,
has to
yeah.
go look for her. Meanwhile, and I think this is okay to give away, which we already did. His daughter is running away, not from him. She's running away from Lockjaw. He's looking for his daughter, and
And he
Lockjaw is
knows
chasing.
Lockjaw is looking for her, so
Yeah,
he has to find her before
and
Lockjaw.
Lockjaw is chasing both of them. And so, and even like you said, we don't know the tone of this movie is it's so weird, in a good way where, like I said, it blends comedy and drama very, very well. Which there's a lot of dramedies out of here, and you're like, okay, well, this was super fucking funny. Okay, that was super fucking sad. This one blends it very well, so you don't really get that when watching the trailer. Like I said, I thought this was going to be primarily a fucking comedy, and I got hit with some heavy shit where I'm not gonna lie to you, I wanted to leave the movie because I thought I was about to come in this bitch and just be laughing, and it wasn't. No, still a great movie, worth the watch. I don't say this often. It's worth the pay for. Pay your little $5 on Tuesday, your $8 on the rest of the week, however fucking they do it. All in all, man, Warner Brothers need to get their shit together.
No,
This movie, they
I'm
really
in
fucked
agreement
them
with you
over with
there.
it, especially when you have, like I said, you have high profile actors like Leonardo DiCaprio, Regina Hall, Wood Harris, and you are doing them a fucking disservice. You're doing the director, the writers, the producers, everybody involved in this fucking movie was done a disservice. And if the producers had something to do with the fucking marketing, they did a disservice to themselves because they don't want to make no fucking money, obviously.
Yeah, that was I think if there's one major critique of this movie, it will be the marketing campaign outside of anything that happened on screen. I think there's no business a
100%.
movie with this cast, with this level of filmmaking, or with this director should only get 22 million opening weekend. I'm with you 100% on that. But I am hoping a lot more people through reviews like this and just word of mouth, go out to support this and understand how good of a movie we just got. Because this
Yeah.
was top. That's our thoughts on One Battle After Another. I would ask if y'all have seen it, but I know y'all haven't. So please do go check this movie out because it deserves to be supported. This was one of the best of the year, and I'm not saying that in any type of hyperbolic way. This is really, truly one of the best movies of the year, if not the best.
And if you
So
have
please
seen it, let us fucking know.
let us know if you're one of the 7 people who went out to see this movie. We would appreciate your thoughts and your continued word of mouth and letting other people know how good this movie is. So yes, please do go check out One Battle After Another. Always continue to support the Real Junkies. We do appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. We do appreciate that support. And until next time, this is the Real Junkies. Peace.